Messenger-Inquirer's Gridiron Report, sponsored by Crandall's Home Furnishing and Carpets Unlimited. And Jim, this is an interesting week in that we really had the kickoff this week. This was the Border Bowl. This is the one we look for. And I think the only disappointment is our teams went 1-3 in it. But it was really good competition that some of them were playing.
Great competition, great weather. We had great crowds, and that's always what you're looking for with the opening to the football season. I also think, Scott, we discovered a lot, some pros and cons about a lot of our area teams during this week.
Oh, I think so. And we're going to get right into the highlights, and we're going to start out with definitely what was the marquee matchup of the week. We had Evansville Reitz coming into Rash Stadium to take on the Owensboro Red Devils. And let's get to clips from that matchup. We expected this to be probably, I would say, almost even in every aspect. So when Reitz jumps out to a 21-0 lead after the first quarter, I think we're both thinking, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think, Scott, that what happened in this game is a real classic example of one team having a game under its belt and the other team playing its opening game, because Owensboro was very shaky in the first quarter. And to give some credit to the Red Devil defense, this game could actually have been 35-0 at halftime, and they shored up their defense about, I'd say, late in the first quarter. They found their footing on defense and held Reitz to a couple of field goals that kept it at 21-0. But no, this could have gotten out of hand. And to Owensboro's great credit, they not only stymied Reitz and kept it at 21-0, but also made a really valiant comeback in the second half.
They really did. I mean, this was definitely one of those games where you fall this far behind to a team of this caliber of Evansville Reitz. I mean, you have every reason in the world to some degree to just say, well, we'll get them next week, and it's over this week. I thought the Owensboro made a key stop late in the second quarter that really gave them the chance to do something in the second half, and they built off of that. And you really started seeing the offense that I think Joe Prince expected from the start. You started seeing that in the second half.
Yeah, you did. And I think what happened was, I think they just played with more confidence. They seemed to be more sure of themselves in the second half. I think pride came into this. They didn't want to get embarrassed on their home turf. And the Red Devils have immense pride, as you know. And I think that the combination of that and just more efficiency on both sides of the ball made this a great game at the end, and Owensboro actually had a chance to tie or win down in the fourth quarter, just couldn't quite pull it off.
Cal Prince 10 for 25, 118 yards. Owensboro only rushes for 85 yards, and it just felt like Owensboro never got anything going on the ground.
Right.
Which with Owensboro surprises you.
I agree.
Do you feel like that was the difference, is that they just never could get the ground game going to open up everything else?
I think that they have to have a combination for Cal to be effective through the air and really for him to be effective on the ground. To their credit, I thought Tony Daviess did a good job. I like him. He's a big back. He's 5'9", 250. We talked about him in the press box. He's a load to bring down, and against a lot of teams, he's going to be a very tough individual to handle.
Yeah. Well, Owensboro, obviously not the way they wanted to start, but I think, no doubt, they will get it on track.
I think so.
And maybe very soon.
Yes.
Let's take a look at clips from the next game we're going to talk about from the Border Bowl, and that was Warren East coming into Steele Stadium to take on Owensboro Catholic. And we were big on Owensboro Catholic going into this game, and I think we're even maybe more bigger on them coming out of the game. 56-14 win over Warren East that really showed every type of weapon you can show.
Yeah, that's the thing that's struck me about Owensboro Catholic. The Aces have so many weapons. They've got speed, they've got power with Russell Hayden, they've got an intelligent quarterback in Isaac Hardesty, who's now put together two really outstanding games in a row. I realize that Owensboro Catholic has not faced top-tier competition yet. That will come this week. But at the same time, this is a team that was 3-8 a year ago, and they are markedly improved, Scott. You saw them the first week. I saw them this week, and they really opened my eyes. I love their attack, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention a much improved defense. This defense will knock your head off. I mean, they take no prisoners. I mean, this is the old Mojo type of a defense, Mike Lawson type of defense, early John Edge era type defense. They will come after you and come after you hard.
Well, you talk about defense. They held Warren East to 199 yards, and a lot of those yards obviously came later in the game once the game was pretty much out of reach, because they have now, Catholic has outscored their opponents 91-0 in the first half, that being McLean County and Warren East. and they have 392 yards of offense in the first half. Couple highlights, standouts for Catholic, and we know they had many standouts.
Right.
Russell Hayden rushes for 126 yards and 2 TDs on 11 carries. Isaac Hardesty completes 14 of 21 passes for 293 yards and 2 TDs. I know Breland Dixon did a lot of nice things. They've got several people who do nice things for them. That is really the key now as we're going forward for Catholic, is I don't know if you're a defensive coordinator, who do you stop? I mean, that's the question.
That is a good question, and it's a difficult question to answer. I want to mention Breland Dixon here real quick, because Breland Dixon has given this team an element that it did not have last year. That's one of the real keys about this offense, because they had Hayden last year. Hardesty is a new addition. That's given them another addition. But Breland Dixon's quickness back there, you just have to honor that, because if you key on Hayden, they will hit you with Dixon, and he's got quick feet, and he can hit a hole quick and be gone. I'm telling you, he's a dangerous, dangerous player.
Oh, I don't disagree with you at all. I said right after the McLean County game, this team has more speed than any Catholic team's had in a long time, whether it be Dixon. Russell Hayden has more speed than you think.
That's
He's
right.
such a big guy.
That's right.
He doesn't look like he would have a lot of speed, but you see him leave people all the time.
Yeah.
So, boy, Catholic is an interesting team. All right, let's talk about, and unfortunately we don't have a clip of the Apollo Evansville Memorial game. Had a little bit of difficulty getting that, but Evansville Memorial 10-2 over Apollo. I was there for this one. This was not a pretty game. I mean, there were penalties galore, just mistakes at crucial times. Coach Paul Bates, very candid, said he just felt like his team lost their composure sometimes at critical moments.
Yep.
All that being said, you make all these mistakes. You still played the number 5 team in 3A in Indiana to a 10-2 game, a game that you could have easily have won. So do you focus on that, you think, if you're Paul Bates, or do you have to focus on the negatives and really go to work on those?
I think you put some focus on both elements, because I think in some sense Apollo really played a good game here. I think their defense really played well. Maybe better than they have any right to, when you think about what they lost last year. This team is pretty good defensively, and to hold Memorial to 10 points is a very good effort. Now, offensively, I think is where they need to address some issues here, because like you said, I think this was a missed opportunity. Apollo, this would have been one of those victories you could really hang your hat on for the rest of the season. It would have been a confidence building victory. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. They need to polish this offense a little bit, become a little bit more efficient, but it shows you that they're not that far away, and it shows you they're a pretty good football team.
Well, the thing that stood out to me offensively was Apollo has to get something going more on the running game.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Diller did break off a 72-yard run, but if you take that away, they basically did nothing on the ground.
And
they got to run.
Elijah Diller did not get very many carries. That surprised me, I must admit.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the last game that we're going to talk about in the Border Bowl, and it was the game that really turned out the way we probably expected. Maybe a little bit wider margin, but it was Bowling Green, Daviess County. Bowling Green wins 66-0. I don't know that there's anything we can really take from this from Daviess County. They simply were playing one of the best teams in the state.
The only thing we can take from this is that it's over, okay? And I mean, let's face it, this was one of those mismatches that was it was just one of those games where you just kind of knew going in that Daviess County didn't match up with them from the standpoint of talent. Daviess County, unfortunately, was playing without its head coach. Marcus Kimbrell had to sit out this game. Just a lot of things working against Daviess, including the fact that Bowling Green had a game under their belt, and the Panthers were playing their opener. So, I mean, 3 strikes and you're out. It's just one of those things. And I think that what we have to kind of wonder at this point is this is not 35-0. This is not 42-0. This is 66-0. This team is going to have to reach deep and find out whether they really have what it takes to turn this season around now, because this is an embarrassing loss no matter who you're playing. 66-0 sticks with you, and the Panthers are going to have to dig deep and recommit themselves on the practice field, I think, this week, and just say, hey, this is not going to happen again, no matter who we're playing, no matter what the situation is.
I think there is something to be said for the fact that, Coach Marcus Kimball can come into practice today and say, guys, we've seen the best we're going to see. Nobody's going to be able to throw anything at us the rest of the year that we didn't see Friday night.
Yep.
So we know, we know where we got to get better. We know the things we have to work on. And I just don't, if I'm him, I don't put any stock in this at all other than that. I just throw it out and say, that's it.
That's right.
It was a loss and we move on.
And the fact is the schedule works out very well for DC. I fully expect them, despite this, to be 2-2 after 4 games.
Oh,
so, I mean, the season's certainly not lost. But they do have to dig down and say, look, we've got to, we don't want this to happen again. And by doing that sometimes, it can help you overachieve in the games you have remaining.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor right now, and we'll be back in a second and take a look at the rest of the games from this past weekend.